not been the same ever since. And now these kids are spending all of their time derailing my lesson and derailing my entire classroom, to the point where yesterday I only got to teach for 2 minutes. I sent 2 people out to try to get back on, and then the whole class became a huge conversation about, well, why do people get sent out? What happens when they get sent out? And then it was just like the kids complaining about like something that happened earlier in the day, and my entire class was awash. And it's really a struggle, because it's like, I tried to do a standing up lesson, they hated it and they were mad. I tried to do a regular lesson, they hated it, they were mad. I just posted everything to Canvas, they hated it and they were mad. And so I just feel like there's nothing I can do, and I am frustrated.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about what you've tried or the process up until this point?
Coach O came in and led a circle. Coach O has also been in, he's actually talked to them 3 times, including the circle. And it's not doing anything. And I lost my cool one day. I stood up in front of those kids and I apologized. And they still are mad. And to the point where, I mean, they're coming up with everything that, like, we're doing book clubs, and one of them is about, like, police brutality, and race, and these kids chose it as their first and second choices, so I gave it to them, and now they're saying that I'm racist because I gave it to only the black people in the room. And they also are saying that I'm targeting them when I'm just asking them to be quiet. And Coach O and I've really been working, so the past 3 weeks I've just been laying in on my expectations. Let's stay engaged, let's be kind, let's stay positive, let's be respectful. And I've been watching my tone, because I tend to get louder as I get frustrated. And so I've been staying calm, and I still feel like there's no respect there, there's nothing there. And I'm getting frustrated.
Well, I just want to thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. I know that's hard to discuss, especially in your room of colleagues, so thank you for being willing to talk about that. So we're going to fill these 3 seats next to Michaela, you can say that, Michaela, with people that would like to share their input, and we'll leave this one open for anybody in the outer circle. So is there anybody who would like to join before I assign anybody?
I can join.
Okay.
I can join.
I'll try.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so now that Michaela has shared her problem, she is now silent. I don't like saying that to an adult, but you know.
Has her listening ears on.
Yes, she's able to now engage in just the listening part of the fishbowl. So Latcham, Hyde, and Donovan will now be responding to Michaela. Remember, she can't answer any questions, so please don't ask her a question. You're just sharing feedback, either to her situation or more ideally things that she could try. And then again, if anybody in the outer circle has a comment, you're welcome to join that empty chair. Go ahead.
Do you want to start? Doesn't matter to me.
I was just gonna start with the empathy thing of it, of like, you also have a crazy seventh hour, also lost my cool on them like just yesterday, so definitely find myself in a similar situation. I think the thing that I have found that we're just in the really beginning stages of success is really putting the work on them to like communicate the behaviors that they're doing at home. So bad sub report last week, so I wrote a whole template up like on the board, and like they had to type up an email to their home and like reflect on what they feel like they did wrong, and give their perspective on the situation. And then I came around, like read the email, was like, do you think this is honest? Do you think this is truthful? And then gave them the email, and then gave them their parents' email, and they CC'd me on it and had to like send it home. And so for a lot of kids a few kids that I have called home earlier in the year and reached out, that didn't necessarily like change their behavior, but there was a few changed their behavior when they had to like tell mom like, hey, I got 0 work done. Like that seemed to be the big part of it, is even outside of the behaviors, they didn't want to admit to home that they did no work in the class that day. And that was a surprising part to me when I started that.
I have a similar 6 hour. I have, 3 of the highest, flyers in the school in 1 hour. They like to come in and ping off of each other, then beat up on me. They gang up on me, which there's 5 other middle flyers that then join in, and so before I know it, I empathize with you because I'm in a similar situation, and it's been a really tough year. I've never not wanted to go to class before in my I have 11 years, so I don't have that much more than you, and it's been a really tough go because it's just been a challenge to come in there. I had a circle with the kids. I asked them to come up with expectations that they had for the classroom, and so we post those expectations. And some of them were frustrated with other students, and they said, hey, you've been more than patient and kind, because I think you might find that there's some kids that are on your side more than you think, but there's that core that's going to, and some kids were brave enough to speak up and said, you spend too much time giving these people patience and being kind to them. We need to move on. Because I would wait until the classroom was quiet so I could teach, and they're like, as soon as it's quiet, go. And so I did, and then I kept reminding them of their expectations, and then trying as hard as I could. I heard you saying this, not to engage. That they started to ask me things that I learned this. We had a child that was slightly autistic. He was high functioning autism about 8 years ago, and Dr. Schneblin told us every time he asked the same question over and again, asked an answer, or just repeat myself in the same calm tone, and they're gonna figure out before long that you're not gonna budge. But it does take a lot of work to get there and a lot of patience. There was one other thing that just popped into my head there for a second. I may back off and try to get it. So you're doing a great job. It's really hard because there's 20 plus of them and there's one of you. And remember that it's hard to have empathy when they're being that mean to you all the time. But that's, the hardest, and I've lost my cool with this class multiple times. I take it back. I'm like, what can I change? What can I do better? And I'm asking them and being vulnerable. Like you said, I apologize. I've lost my cool on this class too, several times, and then make it worse, it's a split lunch. I mean, you want to just make it even worse. And not only do I have to calm them down at the beginning of class, I have to calm them again down for 20 minutes to come back and work after lunch. So you're amazing. You're amazing. You are a positive and wonderful person. And someday they'll look back and realize how positive and amazing you were. So just continue to do everything you can to model that amazing behavior of the person that you are, and know that you're frustrated, but I don't want to say they're 12-year-olds and you're giving them a good model, and someday they're going to look back and they're going to say thank you to you. But just continue to stay the course, stay calm, just repeat yourself over and over again. It's a little bit of Jim Fay love and logic is the best I can say. That's one of my favorites, Jim Fay love and logic. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I also agree that you're amazing, Michaela. I've seen your classroom and you do a very good job. So I did a reset with my 5th hour, which is 28 kids, and I think it's like 25, feels like 25 boys. There's not many girls in there, so it's mostly boys. But they struggled before even January. So I reset with them, and to make it low lift on me, an investment for them, we talked about 3 goals that were things that I saw as struggles. So I think it was coming in and getting their journal out right away, meeting the voice expectation, and then following the directions the first time. And so every day I give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down on my slides, whether or not they met that expectation. And once they got, I think it was to 15 points, we had a incentive that they chose. And what they wanted, because it was boys, you can probably guess, is to play in the gym. So then I rented out the gym, and I let admin know and Coach O, and then it was after 15 points, they had a free day. So it took away from content, but they were super invested in it. And then the next time I was because some of them may not want to go to the gym, we had a different incentive. So that was low lift on me, but high investment for them. And then we still talked about the goals every day. And I'd be happy to share with you what I did with that. I mean, I know I already sent you my stuff, but it was cool because then every day I was like, what do we think we did? How do you think we did with that? Thumbs up, thumbs down. And you could see that kids knew they didn't do well. And if kids said we did do this, I'd be like, actually, I disagree. So that was a part of the conversation that we had. And 5th hour is still very talkative, but it's a lot better than it was, because I have never had that many boys in one room that were super chatty and super
Sorry.
That's a smaller solution that you could do, and then you can talk to them, because you said, I have all these great ideas, and none of these things have worked. What would they like to do? It's 7th hour, would they like to go outside? The weather's nice. It's really easy to rent that space, and then it's a celebration with them for their hard work. And resets back to 0, and now we have to go up to 15 points again.
And I would be willing to give you gym equipment. I have all kinds of soccer balls, volleyballs, kickballs, footballs and I will rent, I can borrow it anytime you want, cause that is a high motivator when kids get to go outside.
So I think a part of the activity is this open chair, so if anyone from the outside is like, oh, I thought of something during this, you share your comment and then you can return back to the chair and then we can move on to the new issue.
One thing, and it's hard to do because of time, as I found has helped is to go into their encore classes and ask their encore teachers to, hey, can I talk with this, whoever, individually? And just have a 5-minute conversation outside on the ground in front of lockers with that kid, just show that, because you don't have time sometimes when you have a class like that of, difficultness to get to know and have that time one-on-one away from their peers. And so you build that relationship outside of the classroom. It's easy for me because I have Avid, so a lot of my kids are in Avid or Spanish, it's nice. But that's one thing that's worked in the past for me. I do this with one of our students this year, just because by the time they get to me in 7th hour, it's a whole new person. The meds wear off. So I have to go make sure that, I'm getting to know this student on a personal level when they're focused and calm. So they know that I have their back even when they're shouting and bebopping and all over, so. Do I leave now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So she
you.
kind of stole my thunder a little bit. I was gonna say, Coach O kind of recommended last year that I go and hit some of the kind of high flyers and pull them out of their encore class and just talk to them about anything other than the classroom. And so just talk to them about personal things, get to know them a little bit. And then after I did that, then I don't know if this was Coach O's idea, I'll give him credit, I don't remember if it was my idea or his, but then after that, after I felt like I started to build a relationship with them, then I would ask them, I'll say, look, you're one of the leaders in class. Right now you're leading in a way that I wish you weren't, but you're one of the leaders in my class. What can we do to make the situation better? And then kind of put it on them and ask them, help me out, because obviously this hour is struggling. So what can we do to make this situation better? What can I do better? What can you do to help? That kind of thing. So kind of put it on them a little bit, and then also on yourself. So it's like a team kind of a relationship situation.
I think too, sometimes those conversations are awkward, so like, I'm sure there's someone on your team or coach or admin or Horn or somebody that would be willing to have it with you too, cause I know when it's hard to have a relationship with this kid, it's really hard to talk about them, something and it feel natural or organic, right?
Yeah.
But maybe someone else on your team knows something about them that you can start to combo with.
I want to piggyback off of Sword and Epley. Another idea, instead of pulling them out of their encore, is to join their encore and not even talk to them, talk to them, but not even pull them out and have an individual conversation, but like go play with them in gym, go sit in on PLTW, and I'm sure any encore teacher would be willing to have you there, but just to show them like, hey, I am fun, it's not, this negative atmosphere all the time. And what I'm guessing is that, I think Watcham said it, more people are on your side than you think they are, but when they get into that environment, it's cool to be, against the teacher if that's the vibe of the classroom that, those core problem makers are creating. So I think if you start building relationships with any of them, not just the high flyers, they're able to see you in a different light, and so that brings more positivity. And then maybe you in class, bring upon something that you talk to them about an encore, remember when I hit you with the dodgeball, that was hilarious, or just something other than content where they're seeing you more as a person and not as the rule maker, you know what I mean?
Can I say one more thing? I know we didn't talk about the race comments, but I think those are really important, and I think those can really damage a classroom too, so I think that would be a great time that you could have that conversation with the support of someone, because a lot of times kids misuse that term, and they don't actually think that, nor do they, mean it that way, but I do think a lot of our students do experience, situations like that in their life a lot, so that's something that they fall back on. So I think that is something that can be very damaging for the student and for you, and so I would focus on that piece as well. And then it's obviously heavy on your heart because you said it, so finding a way that that's not happening anymore.
Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you so much, Michaela.
Good job,
And
Michaela.
all of our